What's up, YouTube? Sean, the Average Angler, and it is about March. March is an exciting time around here. The tree right outside my back window here is starting to blossom, and that means one thing. Pre-spawn's right around the corner. We start transitioning into a little bit warmer weather, a little bit less rain, hopefully a little less rain. And warmer, longer days. Those things tend to get those fish moving towards the banks to do their seasonal thing. So today we're going to go over some baits, and keep in mind with the baits here, the baits won't change based on where I go, but the size of the baits may change depending on where I go, okay? So, as we get started here, cheers. Okay, some things aren't gonna change, okay? I just did a video on the underspin, and I'm not limiting myself to 5 baits here. I think we're maybe 1 or 2 above that. And not saying I wouldn't, I'll give you some alternatives too as we're going through some of this stuff. So number 1, since it was fresh on the list, is going to be a Kitech and an underspin. This heads for a particular lake. This is what I use for Clear Lake with a 4.8. All right, I wouldn't use this color, I'd use the bluegill flash. That's just my confidence, that's what I would use. But if I was somewhere like Berryessa, I'm probably going to go with a Cool Baits head, quarter ounce to 3/8 ounce, depending. And I'm probably going to be throwing a shad type pattern. Yeah, cover water baits, folks, right? The fish should be getting a little more active. We're covering water, trying to find groups of fish where they're staging. Now you can do this with your graph, obviously, especially with today's graphs, but it won't necessarily give you everything. Sometimes those fish are laying on the bottom. You can't pick them out from rocks or something else that might be in the same area. And that's my word of advice, is staging fish, and pretty much fish year round, like a hard bottom. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're looking for staging areas. Okay, the next one I have here is another search bait, and that's the 8-inch mag draft. That's the gizzard shad. I also like the white. I don't know what they call it. I think they just call it white. Anyway, the 8-inch, because of drawing power, okay? I don't necessarily need to catch them on that bait, but I do want to know they're there. Once we know they're there, we can mess around with some different things and figure out how to catch them, right? But these are search baits. These are gonna help us cover water, give us some drawing power to get the fish to show themselves to us. Now I grabbed this box here because these are all great search baits, okay? They're glide baits, chopping glide baits. All but one of them's custom. The only one that's not is the old shad there. They all serve the same purpose. They get big fish to show themselves, okay? Not looking for males this time of year. I'm looking for the females. So pick something up, go out there, toss it around, get the fish to show themselves. If you catch them on these, great. If you don't, just know they're there and you have to switch to something else. We're gonna go over those baits in a second after we get off the reaction baits. see a lot of other people this time of year that talk just about reaction baits. They don't always want to eat the reaction baits. But if we know they're there, get them to show themselves, then we can attack from a different perspective. Okay, and then last but not least, and you can alternate this with a second bait, and that is the good old chatterbait. Okay, green pumpkin is typically going to be my color around here. There are times where I will go to the black and blue. The water's a little dingier. Black and blue can be really good in the spring anyway. And then something like a lava craw, okay? Those are the three colors I would use. I keep it pretty simple. I don't need to carry a giant box with me. I'm not throwing shad patterns this time of year. Black and blue, green pumpkin, or the fire craw. And the other bait that I would alternate that with would be a rattle bait, okay? LV 500, the Jackal TN 60 or 70. I would throw the 70 based on where I am. And the other one that I didn't have because it's in the boat is a rip bait. Really changing up here on the rip bait this time of year and going to a pointer 128, which is a bigger jerk bait. It's not a deep jerk bait, and generally I'll fish those a little bit faster. Again, covering water. When you pause it, if they're chasing that rip bait, a lot of times they're going to eat it. Okay. All right. So when we slow down or we have fish in the area and we're looking for some extra bites, or maybe they weren't biting the reaction baits and we're looking to get them to eat something, this is the time of year where I will break out a good old Senko. Okay. Again, Clear Lake, I'm looking for 7, 8+ pounders. Okay. I will throw the 7-inch Senko a lot. Okay, it's a big hunk of plastic. You can throw it a long ways. I don't throw a lot of colors. I have this in black and blue, and I have this in green pumpkin with purple and copper flake. It's the 330. It's my favorite color. Doesn't matter the size. Here's the same color again. In a 6-inch, these are the two I tend to go with. This is going to be more for a little deeper stuff. This is going to be more for throwing around docks, skipping up under docks, that kind of thing. Okay, the Senko's really hard to beat in the pre-spawn. They love that bait. Now, another good way, and I know people don't like doing this, but I'm telling you, it works so well, is the old ball and chain Carolina rig, right? Again, pretty much two colors. I think this one's called, I don't know if this is Old Grape or if it is, you can see it's purple. If it's Old Purple. And then green pumpkin. Okay, I generally fish it on a 2.5 to 3 foot leader. Again, you can fish it fairly fast for a plastic. Just adjust your weight. You want to keep the weight on the bottom. Pull it. Let's reel up your slack. Pull it, reel up your slack. Okay. If you know they're there, you can really slow down and key in on them. Then that's fine. You can let that bait settle the bottom, then pull it up off the bottom again, let it flutter back down to the bottom. The brush hog is probably one of the best all-time Carolina baits in my mind, and also a flipping bait. So you can also flip those depending on where you're at. If you have the cover, you have 4 or 5 foot. On Berryessa, I love getting in the trees. Okay, we'll have trees that might be out, well, some of them as deep as 20 feet. But usually in that 5 to 12 foot range when the lake's full like it is now. And lastly, one of my favorites, the Strike King Rage Bug. Okay, that's blue craw, one of my favorite colors. It works. I have a lot of confidence in it. And again, I'm trying to keep it simple. But the blue craw, the green pumpkin with purple Senkos, I mean, all of this stuff can mimic so many things, right? It can mimic a crawdad. It can mimic a bluegill, a sunfish, whatever you may have in your body of water that they don't want around them or that they key on for forage. March is such a fun time to fish, folks, at least here in California where I am. And I'm pretty sure it's probably all the way across the United States, the bottom half of the country, things are getting ready to get really good. It's a good time to plan a trip. It's a good time to look at the weather, to plan a trip. If you only get weekends, try and pick a weekend that looks good. Not all of us get to fish every weekend, okay? Some of us have families, we have obligations, we can't go every weekend. When I was younger, I got to go every weekend. I don't get to go every weekend anymore. Look for that new moon, because we're just coming off of a full moon, right? I think last Saturday was a full moon. So 2 weeks from that. That will be a key time. That moving forward and then into the full moon, which will come at the end of March, which then puts us in April. And here our major spawn time can be, depending on the body of water and species, whether it's smallmouth, largemouth, or spotted bass, can be anytime from late March all the way through May and into June, depending on how the weather goes. Hopefully it doesn't last that long. I mean, I love the spawn, but I like the other seasons too. I like the post spawn. I like to get the frog out and throw the frog around, get some top water going. It's so much fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. Those are my choices for March. Let me know what you think. If you have something that you really like, put it down in the comments. Let me know about it. Maybe I forgot about it. Maybe I've never used it. I don't know. Again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.